Okay, let's jump right in. Ever considered that your waistline might be sending signals about your brain health?
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it? And maybe more than just an idea.
Exactly. Turns out, keeping a healthy weight could be doing way more than, helping with your jeans fitting. It might actually be directly safeguarding your brain.
And we're seeing some really compelling research backing this up now. Evidence is growing that links higher body weight to, well, reduced blood flow in some critical brain areas.
Right, and that's what we're diving into today, a pretty significant study on this very topic.
Where's this one from?
So our main source is a study from the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, published back in 2020, and it's not a small one.
Oh,
No, they looked at, get this, 35,442 brain scans.
wow, that many.
Yeah, from over 17,700 adults. Ages ranged from 18 all the way up to 94. Average age was about 40.
That's a huge data set, really robust. And how do they measure the brain activity?
They use something called SPECT imaging.
SPEC. So that lets you actually measure blood flow or perfusion,
Yeah.
right? See how much blood is getting to different areas.
And they compared this across different BMI categories, underweight, normal, overweight, obese, and morbidly obese.
Got it.
Oh.
Full spectrum.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack what this study found. What's the connection between BMI and brain blood flow? And crucially, what might this mean for keeping our brains sharp as we get older?
Yeah, especially for anyone listening who's thinking about, being proactive about their cognitive health. This is key information.
Definitely. So what was the headline finding?
Well, the core finding was remarkably consistent. They found that as BMI increased, the level of blood flow, the perfusion, tended to decrease.
And that was across the board.
Pretty much. In nearly all the brain regions they looked at, a clear pattern.
Nearly all regions. Wow. Were there specific areas that stood out, areas that seem particularly affected?
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting, especially thinking about long-term brain health and conditions like Alzheimer's.
Okay.
The study highlighted several regions known to be vulnerable in Alzheimer's disease that showed significantly lower blood flow in people with higher BMIs.
Such as?
Well, the hippocampus, for starters. Absolutely vital for making new memories.
Right.
Then the temporal lobes, crucial for language, understanding, long-term memories. Also the parietal lobes, which handle sensory input, spatial awareness, and the posterior cingulate, and the precuneus, too. Both involved in things like attention, self-awareness, memory retrieval, really important cognitive hubs.
So basically, the higher the BMI, the less fuel getting to some of the brain's most important processing centers.
That's what the correlation suggests. And what's really striking is that the amount of reduced blood flow they saw, say in the hippocampus, even just in the overweight category, not yet obese, was comparable to levels sometimes seen in early stages of mild cognitive impairment.
Wow. That really puts it into perspective. It's not just an issue for extreme obesity.
Exactly. It suggests the impact might start earlier than we think.
And did they check if this was just because people with higher BMI might also have other health issues affecting the brain, like psychiatric conditions or neurological problems?
They did. That's a really important point.
Yeah.
The researchers specifically controlled for pre-existing conditions like those.
Yeah.
And the link between higher BMI and lower brain blood flow held strong, even after accounting for those other factors.
So it suggests that the excess weight itself is having this effect independently.
It strongly suggests that yes, that obesity, or even being overweight, seems to be an independent factor impacting brain perfusion.
That's quite significant. It's not just a side effect of something else.
Precisely. And another thing that strengthens the finding, they saw this reduced blood flow both when people were resting and when they were doing tasks that required concentration.
Okay, so it wasn't just a fluke based on what the brain was doing at the moment.
Right. It was consistent across different brain states, which adds weight to the results.
Okay, so we've established what higher BMI links to lower blood flow, especially in these key cognitive areas. What about the why? Did the study shed light on how this might be happening? The mechanism?
Yeah, they discussed a likely culprit, something called obesity-induced neuroinflammation.
Neuroinflammation, so inflammation in the brain.
Essentially, yes. Think of it like the brain's immune system being stuck in a low-level on state chronically. This ongoing inflammation isn't good for delicate brain cells or the blood vessels supplying them.
So the inflammation could be damaging the blood vessels, making them less efficient at delivering blood.
That's the proposed link. This chronic inflammation could impair how well those vessels function, leading to the reduced perfusion they observed in the scans.
That makes sense. We hear a lot about chronic inflammation impacting the body generally. Stands to reason it could affect the brain's blood supply, too. Now, no study is perfect. Were there limitations mentioned? Things we should keep in mind.
Absolutely. And it's good they pointed them out. This was a cross-sectional study, meaning it's like a snapshot in time.
Okay.
So while they found this strong correlation to higher BMI associated with lower blood flow, they can't definitively say from this study alone that the higher BMI caused the reduction.
Right. The classic correlation doesn't equal causation.
Exactly. To prove causation, you'd really need longitudinal studies, studies that follow the same people over many years.
To see if changes in weight lead to changes in blood flow over time.
Precisely. And another key point they raised. While they controlled for various conditions, we still need more research to know if losing weight can actually reverse these effects on brain blood flow.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can we undo the potential damage?
It really is. And finding that out is crucial for guiding advice and motivating change.
Definitely. Okay, so we have this compelling, if correlational, evidence. Let's pivot to action. What does this research actually mean for us, for you listening? How can we use this information?
Well, one interesting avenue this opens up is the idea of using brain perfusion itself as a potential biomarker.
A biomarker, meaning?
Meaning, measuring blood flow in the brain might, down the line, help us identify people at higher risk of cognitive decline much earlier, maybe even before they show symptoms.
Like an early warning system.
Kind of.
Well,
And it could also potentially help track whether preventative strategies like lifestyle changes are actually working at the brain level.
that's really interesting, a way to see the impact directly. What about practical steps for today based on this study?
The most direct takeaway reinforces what we often hear, but with added brain-specific weight. Aiming for and maintaining a healthy BMI is important.
Through the usual suspects, diet and exercise.
Yes, through balanced eating and regular physical activity. This study strongly suggests that doing so could positively impact your brain's blood flow and potentially lower your risk of dementia down the road.
So good for the body, good for the brain. It's all connected.
Deeply connected.
Yeah.
And the study also implicitly supports the value of regular cardiovascular exercise.
Things that get your heart pumping.
Exactly. Brisk walking, jogging, swimming, cycling activities known to boost blood flow everywhere, including the brain. It's like giving your brain's circulation a direct boost.
Move your body, help your brain. Makes sense. Anything else practical?
Well, while the study didn't explicitly say track your weight, it does highlight the significance of weight as a factor. So being mindful of your weight, maybe tracking it consistently, could be a useful tool.
Just to stay aware and see if you're moving towards a healthier range, knowing the potential brain benefits?
Precisely. It's about being proactive with a factor that seems to really matter, a factor you often can influence.
Okay, so bringing this back to you, the listener, understanding this link between weight and brain blood flow empowers you. Right. It gives you concrete reasons to prioritize certain health behaviors. And this is really what we try to do here at Boost GB. We dig into the research, sometimes dense studies like this one, and try to pull out the key insights for you.
Making complex science accessible.
Exactly. Giving you those nuggets of knowledge you need to make informed decisions without having to wade through all the jargon yourself. We don't do the research, but we aim to make it understandable.
And this study really drives home that connection to the body and brain health aren't separate things. Taking care of your physical self is a direct investment in your cognitive future.
Absolutely. So, wrapping up this deep dive, the main message is pretty clear. Your weight appears to have a real, measurable impact on your brain's health, specifically the blood flow getting to crucial areas.
Yeah, managing your weight proactively isn't just about physical health metrics. It's about investing in a sharper, healthier mind for the long run.
Which leads us to that final thought for you to ponder.
Knowing this connection, this link between your body and your brain's circulation. What's one small, maybe manageable change you could start today that might pay off big time for your cognitive well-being years down the line?
That's a great question to sit with. And if you found this discussion helpful, definitely consider subscribing to the Boost GB YouTube channel. We regularly break down important research like this.
And for more insights delivered weekly, you can sign up for the newsletter over at boostgb.com.
Thanks for tuning in and exploring this vital connection with us.